There's this one woman who was in an abusive relationship. She endured all kinds of mistreatment from her partner, but she never gave up hope. And one day she found the strength to break free from the abuse and start a new life for herself. But then there's another woman who experienced something similar. She, too, had a partner who wasn't treating her right, but instead of trying to make things work, she just ended up staying in the relationship longer than she should have. And even after all that time and all the pain, it still didn't work out. So what's the difference between these two stories? Why did one woman end up with a happy ending while the other didn't? Well, it all comes down to one simple concept: rising above your circumstances. You see, the first woman chose to rise above her circumstances. She didn't let her situation define her worth or her future. Instead, she took control of her life and created the kind of happiness she deserved. But the second woman, she let her circumstances define her. She gave up on herself and settled for a life of misery and regret. The truth is, we all have the power to rise above our circumstances. We all have the ability to create the kind of life we want to live. But it takes courage, determination, and a refusal to give up on ourselves. You see, life is full of challenges and setbacks. It doesn't matter how careful we are or how hard we try. Sometimes things just don't go our way, but the important thing is not to let those setbacks define us. We must learn to rise above them and keep moving forward. When we refuse to let our circumstances define us, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become more resilient, more adaptable, and more capable of achieving our dreams. Because when we rise above, we discover new strengths within ourselves that we never knew we had. We become more confident in our abilities and more hopeful about our future. Now, I know it's not easy to rise above, especially when we're facing difficult circumstances. But it's important to remember that we're not alone. There are people who care about us and want to help us succeed. And there are resources available to support us along the way. One of the best ways to rise above is to surround yourself with positive people who believe in you and your abilities. These people will be your cheerleaders, your mentors, and your friends. They lines be the ones who help you pick yourself up when you fall and to celebrate your successes along the way. Another way to rise above is to focus on your strengths and the things you're good at. When we focus on our strengths, we build confidence and feel good about ourselves. This confidence will help you take risks, try new things, and pursue your dreams. Finally, it's important to remember that rising above is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of learning, growing, and evolving. So don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. In fact, embrace them as opportunities to learn and grow. So I encourage you to be like the first woman. Be someone who rises above their circumstances, who refuses to let their past define their future. Be someone who takes control of their life and creates the kind of happiness they deserve. Do and be like the second woman who lets their circumstances define them and who ends up settling for a life of misery and regret. You have the power to create the life you want to live. You have the ability to rise above your circumstances and achieve your dreams. So don't give up on yourself. Keep trying, keep believing in yourself, and eventually you'll get there. And remember, you're not alone. There are people who care about you and want to help you succeed. So reach out to them, ask for help and support when you need it. And never ever give up on yourself. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you never miss out on any of my videos.